Hello, YouTubers. I'm Angela Logan, and this is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me on this Friday, October 25th, 2019. Greetings from the High 10. I'm deriving this story now out of Birmingham, Alabama. It was a press conference that was given just a little while ago, and it is in regard to the tips and rewards in the investigation of Kamille Mckinney, aka Cupcake. Okay, more than 400 tips were called into the Crimestoppers organization, and that these tips were very helpful. Several of the tips were deemed very helpful in aiding in this investigation. Naturally, so many people called. This organization needed a lot of help in retrieving those phone calls and dissecting and going through the information and taking down the information. 2 police officers were kindly handed over to Crimestoppers to aid in answering the phones in this investigation. Now, know that $35,000 is the cap right now in the reward fund, and it could have reached $50,000, but the people operating the organization stopped that amount and asked that no one else donate any money because they wanted to keep the cap at $20,000 as the reward amount. And I'm assuming that that money will be divided up amongst the persons or whatever who gave the tips in this investigation. But you can still, they still took the people's names down who, just in case, I guess they decided that they wanted to let the designated amount go past the $20,000 or whatever. They were able to leave their information to this organization. Okay, the SS money has been given to start a reward fund in Kamille Mckinney, in her name. Kamille Cupcake Mckinney does now have a memorial fund, and it is to aid law enforcement agencies in future abductions and disappearances of children. And this has been is a dedication to her in the reverence of her life that was taken. And so they have named this new reward fund in her name. And the chief feels like her disappearance brought the city together. They were all different walks of life trying to find this child and looking for her, and everyone, of course, naturally were hoping to find her alive, but she was not. And he just feels like, the city is more unified due to this child's disappearance. Okay, now the gentleman who was speaking on behalf of Crimestoppers had basically said that the amounts, the tips and pledges could have reached over $100,000, I guess, from all the people who were trying to pledge and donate money. And he feels like they don't give any information as far as who donated. They don't give any information as far as the tips and the rewards, naturally, to keep the people safe. And they will not reveal what the actual tip was that led to the apprehension of these suspects, nor do they give out the reward amount. He hopes that this never happens again, that they hope that this money that's in this fund will stay untouched. But as he said, things can happen, and you never know, because there are a lot of bad people out here, and who knows the day they may have to go back into this reward fund to use it to help with further investigations, of missing children. Now, at the moment, $35,000 is in this fund, and they hope that it will stay at that amount, of course. He said jokingly, it's at that amount, and the only way it would change is if someone wanted their money back. So we're hoping, that never happens. Now, naturally, they were talking about the reason why people don't talk is because many people do not want to be deemed a snitch, so they don't give information as far as fugitives and people looking for people, warrants, this and that. I mean, law enforcement looking for people. People just don't want to get involved for whatever reason, and usually it's because people do not want to have to eventually testify in a case. But he wants people to know that when you give information to Crimestoppers, that all that information is anonymous. You will not be revealed. None of your personal information will be revealed. They don't take a tally of the information. The reward money is cash money, so you don't have to worry about the reprisal of revenge or anything from any outside people or persons involved in the crime, because you will not have to testify by giving a tip to Crimestoppers. So that's some information I think is very valid in this situation. So people will know now that you can give information to Crimestoppers, and you do not have to worry about ever testifying in court. If you give information this week, once the information has been turned over, they go through the information, and if valid, they will give you your money deemed. If the person is found, if they had a felony warrant or the crime is solved, you will get your money the next week after giving your tip to that crime. Like they said, they don't have a lot of information on some of the people that give the tips, such as phone numbers, this and that. Now, I don't really know how that would work, because I was thinking that if you give the tip, they'd have to, have some type of way of notifying you to say, well, hey, we've got your money, woo, woo, woo. But as he stated, all information, persons, tips, whatever, reward amounts are private. So please don't worry about that if you decide you would like to give personal information involving a case or crime. Okay, and we know why they do that. They want everything private because, like they said, they don't want any retaliation, and they know that things can happen once a person's name is known to have given any type of information, and they don't want any retaliation. So that's why everything is private and confidential. And as I said, no tips are mentioned. No reward will be mentioned. All that is private information. So that is the latest information. Deriving out of Birmingham, Alabama, and this reward fund has been set up in Kamille Cupcake Mckinney's name. And yes, it is tragic that she was not found alive. Most of you know that, and for some of you who don't know, she was not found alive, and now the city of Birmingham Crimestoppers have set up a reward fund for future cases, disappearances of missing children. And that was a noble thing to do. I think that was a very noble thing to do. I want to thank you all for listening, and till the next update, I will be back. Thanks for listening, sharing, watching. You all have a wonderful weekend, and take care and be safe out there. Bye-bye.